Hello everyone and welcome again. Okay, as promised before in our previous lesson, so today we'll try to devote a special lesson or video for this important mark, which is the comma, with regard to its different uses, and common use among students, and also our need for it. So here I have gathered for you, sets or a bunch of remarks or tips from different books of writing, different sources, just to dive more deeply, within the rules of this important mark. There is important mark to clarify more, the cases, and how we should, use it properly. All right. So let's start with the first tip or remark. When the clauses are very short, a comma is not always necessary, but is never wrong. What does this mean? This means, that, for instance, with the case, of compound sentences, for example, when we join two clauses with what? Fun boys. Now, if these two clauses, which are independent, are very short, like here, the show started, S plus V hourly, no one attended, S plus V hourly. Here, in English, you can drop the comma before the fun boys. So here the comma, is not obligatory, is not necessary, because the clauses are very short. Clear? But for us, I recommend that as we are still beginners, still first year novice, we must stick to the basic rules. We must always, whenever we write, a sentence which contains two independent clauses joined by one of the fun boys, I must always put my comma before the fun boys. But in case, when I read, I find a sentence, which contains, one of the fun boys joining two short independent clauses, it's not wrong. When I don't find the comma before it, it's not wrong. It's a possibility in English and within the vast and large English language and grammar. So we write it, but when we see it, we don't consider it as a mistake. Is the idea clear? Good. Second remark or tip: commas are used to separate parts of sentences. Clear? They are never, used to separate sentences. Now here, this is a very important remark, about writing, especially when it comes to paragraph writing. Clear? Now here, for example, sometimes the students tend to write many and frequent sentences, together, and they separate them with commas, separate them with commas, until the sentence becomes very lengthy and long and boring. Clear? And boring. Now instead, we recommend that whenever you have a new idea and you want to write it, so put a full stop and start your sentence for the next idea. And as you know, the English language, is based on what? On subordination, not coordination. It means you may write many separate sentences, which are separated by full stops, but in terms of meaning they are related. They are related. So here is the idea. It means always, we must always put a full stop, and start a new idea if you have a new idea. And no need to keep stuffing one sentence, with many, ideas and putting between them, always commas, until our sentence reaches 5 or 4 or 6 lines, to become boring and very lengthy. very lengthy. Always we try to break up our piece of writing into, okay, average length sentences. Average length sentences, and also we say that, okay, these sentences can be related in terms of meaning, okay, although they are separate in terms of structure. Clear? Good. Number 3, put a comma before the conjunctions and or only when they connect to independent clauses. Right. This reminds us of the case of a compound sentence or a part of the compound complex sentence. Clear? It's clear, right? You put a comma after that, before the boys here. But in case these and or, they join only two words, two nouns. Okay, I met Ahmed and Ali. Right. Or Ahmed or Ali will come. Here, no need to put any comma before and or before or. Clear? Right. Don't use the comma when they connect sentence parts. It means two words, two nouns, only two nouns or two words. Okay, and two phrases. Only two phrases. Clear? Two phrases. But two clauses? Yes. You put a comma before from boys when they join two independent clauses. Alright. Of course, you have to. Number 4. Don't use too many commas. Okay. It's like nearly second remark. The overuse of commas. We accumulate our ideas, okay, in a successive way, right, and keep using commas, right. Don't use too many commas. It's not correct always. Don't throw commas into a sentence just because you think. Look here. You think. It's not enough. Your speculation is not enough. There should be a pause, or because you think the sentence is too long and needs breaking up. Why? Here's the answer. Use a comma only when there is a rule. So, as I said before, you must stick to the rules, okay, and to the cases which we learned in our lesson, right, and apply them, okay, whenever you write. If, for example, you encounter a case of one of those which we saw together in our lesson, put a comma, okay. If you are not sure, okay, that this case, okay, is one of the rules, no need to put any comma. Okay, any comma. Stick to the rules. That's all. Okay, don't rely only on your guessing. Okay, or speculation. Alright. So use a comma only when there is a rule. Now this tip represents the whole lesson, if you can say. This is called the lesson for me. A rule for doing so. Example, young people especially are vulnerable, exposed to many effects. You might think that here I have the word especially, clear, especially, it can be something strange in the sentence, so I can put before it a comma or after it, or even place it into commas. I think it can be, why not? But we haven't learned any, okay, rule about this case, especially in our lesson, so we must keep it as it is, without using any comma, okay, because it does not correspond to any of the rules or the cases we learned in our lesson. Clear? Right. Good. And the last remark, okay, which is also very important, right? And it reflects, if you can say, and I mentioned it here because I wanted to rectify one of the commonest, or the number one, or the top mistake among most of the students when they write. When they join always two independent clauses by a comma, thinking that it's like in Arabic. No, the English is different. If you have two independent clauses together in a sentence and you want to separate them, don't use a comma. you must use a semicolon. Look here. Corruption is a very dangerous phenomenon. It destroys economy. Most of the students, okay, put a comma here, thinking that, okay, this is the right mark they should use here, because here we have two ideas within the same sentence, okay, which are a bit related. So I put only a comma here to make a pause, okay, and to show they are related. But the English, okay, as you know, okay, they join always the two dependent clauses, and they use either comma plus fun boys or conjunctive adverb before it's semicolon and it's a comma, or if you want to join these two clauses which are independent by only punctuation, you must always use what? Semicolon. The comma here is wrong. Use of the comma here is wrong. Use a semicolon. Now this sentence, for example, represents the topic sentence for a paragraph. As you see here, most students, they join the two clauses by a comma. It's wrong. Either you put fun boys, comma, and fun boys, and comma, and it is, right? Clear? Or you put directly and simply a semicolon. Clear? So these are simply, okay, let's consider our treasures, okay, treasures, because they represent the core of the lesson, okay, and they also show us how to use the comma wisely, okay, instead of our random use. Thanks so much. I hope that you have understood, okay, and also benefited from these tips, right? Wish you the best and see you, okay, in another lesson. Good luck.